Welcome to Legendary Drops. My name is Ian. And, Chrono Odyssey. Damn, girl. You looking good! Oh my god. Elden Ring meets MMO. It's like every gamer's wet dream. It's the game that you and I go to bed at night and think about, and we're like, if I was a game developer, this is the game that I would make. Why? Because it'll make me billions of dollars, incredibly famous, and everybody would love me for it. Whether it's the landscapes, the art design, the character design, the combat, everything about that trailer screams Souls-like. And I'm here for it. Chrono Odyssey is a game that we have had very little warning on and next to no information about. However, it's a game that came out, put out a trailer, and set some seriously high expectations. Some of the most fluid combat animations I've seen in a game since Nier Automata or Devil May Cry. Near perfect frame dodging and collision. Massive raid and world boss battles, dungeons, and aesthetics out of your best nightmare. At first glance, this looks like a Dark Souls or Elden Ring successor. And I'm just wondering if it's real. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have like next to no information on this game. So, as such, I have done the best that I can for you and also for myself to find out as much as I can about this game, about its studio, about the people that are working on it, to try to give us the best picture possible of what we can expect from Chrono Odyssey. So, let's see what we got. According to their website, the world of Chrono Odyssey is called Cetera. It's a land full of unexplored regions, with rewards and riches yet unknown. Let your courage carry you through the regions and face formidable foes, with your newly acquired control over space-time and the alliances that you form throughout your journeys. You may yet conquer these lands that you have discovered. There is no one way through this world that is filled with opportunity born from the chaos of warping space and time. Welcome to Cetera. The adventure is yours to be had. At first glance, Cetera may seem like a peaceful, beautiful land filled with nature. However, Cetera is also the front lines of a war against the void, which has been going on since the beginning of time. This land is filled with dangers and chaos, caused by the twisted time and space and contradicting timelines. These dangers provide countless mysteries and opportunities not afforded to any other in the world. Uncover the secrets behind Cetera's timeline and find out a way to save everyone, including yourself. The website also gives us a little bit of insight over some of the different enemies that we're going to be facing in Chrono Odyssey. This includes the Guardians, the Void, the Broken, the Outcasts, and the World Movers. The two most interesting factions out of these is the Void and the World Movers. The World Movers actually seem like they're the NPCs that we're going to be interacting with the most in this game, and they all have their own faction, about 3 different factions as it says on the website. This leads me to believe that at one point we're probably going to have to choose a faction that we're going to stick with. Whether or not that puts us at odds with other players in the game or however that works out, that's yet to be seen, but it does lead me to believe that there's going to be some type of faction choice at some point. The Void, which is the main enemy of the game, are basically the embodiment of nothingness. The only thing that they want is to destroy. They want to destroy every world that is in the entire universe and in all of existence. And also, they look really cool. Now, if the title of the game, or for some odd reason you missed it in the trailer, time is a major factor in this game. And one of the last things that the website goes into is the Chronotector, which is this artifact that allows the player to manipulate space-time. This is something that was bestowed upon us by the Great Ones. Now, one of the things that I found while I was digging into this game is that initially, back in 2020, they had announced that this game was going to have up to 18 classes. Whether or not that's still true or whether they've scaled that back by now, I'm not too sure, but it makes you wonder just how many uses for time have these guys come up with. And now this is where the video is going to get a little bit more informal, because there just really isn't a whole lot of information about this game. There's a few things that I want to dive into and talk about, but I don't want to get too far into the weeds because a lot of it's just going to be conjecture, to be honest with you. Some of the things that I can bring up is that the game was officially announced back in 2020. They actually had planned that the game was going to be tested through 2021. However, with no announcement or anything like that, it seems like they just couldn't meet the deadline. They planned on releasing this back in 2022. Here we are in 2023, and this is when they say they're going to release it. Initially, when they made their first announcement for the game was going to be on mobile, PC, and on console. However, it seems like the mobile section of that for iOS and Android has been retracted. Personally, I feel like this might be a good thing, but the idea that they were planning to release this game on mobile also kind of makes me a little bit hesitant, as you guys can all imagine. Not too many games that I know of other than Genshin Impact and maybe Honkai Star Rail are games that really do play well on both PC and console. However, those are relatively simple games, and from the trailer that we saw, that is not a relatively simple game. I couldn't imagine playing something like that on my cell phone. One of the other things that I really took some time to dig into is the LinkedIn profiles of all of the people that have worked on this game, because the only way for us to figure out what kind of game they're making is to look to see in the past what kind of games these guys have made before. This is a relatively new company. This is only their second game. Their other game that they have came out a couple years ago, but that's been in Korea only from what I understand. And that one's called Grand Saga. We're going to look at that first, see how you guys feel about that, and then we're going to move on and we're going to look at some of the stuff on LinkedIn. All right, so one of the first things that I want to look at is Grand Saga. So this is the only other game that the company has come out with. NPixel is the name of the studio that's making this game, and it is as you guys can tell, a mobile and PC game. If you're looking at the UI, you can tell it's very much a mobile game. The controls are incredibly simple, only a few button controls, and just looking at this, I'm not necessarily seeing where this company is coming up with the design for their other game that they're making so far. Obviously, you can't be judged by, the only one game that they've made in the past. However, when I see what kind of game this is and the information that I've looked up on it so far, it doesn't really fill me with a whole lot of faith. Beyond that, I'll also bring up a tweet really quickly here that I ended up finding out that this game is also connected to Web3. They had initially partnered with a company called Appdos, and they've been working on Web3 metaverse technology in conjunction with Grand Saga. Now, I don't know if any of this information is going to affect Chrono Odyssey. I don't know if it's oh God, I hope it's not going to be an NFT game. Anytime I hear Web3, I immediately cringe. So this definitely does make me a little bit nervous when I see things like that. And it's going to make you a little bit nervous the more we look into the guys that are working on this game, the leads that are behind this game, and we'll look at that right now. So some of the other things that I wanted to point out is just some of the LinkedIns. So you have Sam Seo. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is the head developer. This is the lead producer for Chrono Odyssey. You can see it kind of here on his profile. And when I go through and I look at some of the other studios this guy has worked for, you have Krafton, which that's fine. That's PUBG Mobile, things like that. That's also going to be a couple of MMOs as well. Elian Online, Terra Online. From my understanding, I think both of those have never done all that great. So we'll see how their new MMO is going to play out. One of the things that actually continues to concern me here is ComToUs Corporation. I once fell down the hole of gacha games. One of the first gacha games I ever played was called Summoner's War. And if you look through some of the other things that Sam here has worked on, they've been mobile collection game, and then some R&D using deep learning. I'm not exactly too sure what that means that he did for Krafton. But when I see these collectible games, that tells me one thing. That tells me gacha. I don't know how gacha fills into a Dark Souls-esque game, but I guess we'll see soon enough. One of the other guys that are working on the game is Song. Yeah, I don't know how to say that. Song Yao. He is one of their lead game developers, or lead game developer for NPixel. Again, another employee that has worked on gacha games and mobile games. A little bit of Netmarble. That is another one of those gacha companies. Continuing on, you have Mai. Mai is head of NPixel, head of Web3 and at NPixel. So, and this is somebody that's worked for Nexon, NP, or I don't even know how to say that. Neopol. Not something that necessarily fills me with a whole lot of confidence for this game. Continuing on to Yeo. or Yao, lead game designer, worked at Netmarble. Again, another person coming from a gacha company, coming from mobile games. Their quest designer worked on Blade and Soul. I know that there's some people that are fans of Blade and Soul, so that could be good. However, it doesn't look like they're with the company anymore. They've gone to work for NCSoft. Again, this is just conjecture. This doesn't necessarily really mean anything, right? However, when you look at everything that these people have worked on in the past, they've all been mobile games. A lot of them have been gacha games. And then also you're adding in Web3 at the same time. It doesn't look like a super positive image of what this game is going to look like when it actually comes out. Now, I will say one thing. There is something that does fill me with a little bit of confidence, and the fact that it was actually announced as a PlayStation game. I know this is multi-plat. It's on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. However, Sony actually put their name on it, and they, put out the trailer themselves. That tells me that maybe we're not going down that path. I am getting some Black Desert vibes from this, but, BDO is a game that is loved by quite a lot of people, and yeah, it does have a lot of pay to win and really heavily microtransactions and stuff like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So again, a lot of this is conjecture. Who knows if any of this actually has any impact on the game that these guys are making. I'm going to remain at least slightly hopeful because the game looked really cool in the trailers. I do know that initially these guys were going to make the game using Unreal 4. That's what the game was being developed in initially. However, that changed over time. From what I can tell, at least, this game is definitely an Unreal Engine 5. So I would imagine that some of that skip in development time where they initially thought the game was going to come out in 2021, 2022, now it's coming in 23. Good chance that these guys took a step back and they put the game in Unreal Engine 5. Good on them for doing so. It's a great engine. It makes great, games look good. We've seen a lot of the new MMOs that have been popping up lately using Unreal Engine 5. So, yeah. Again, this is a little bit less professional than I do for some of my other videos. Usually a little bit better spoken and more prepared, but there really just wasn't a whole lot to prepare with this video. So I hope this information helps you guys out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to sub to the channel. I also started a Patreon per request from a few other people. Link for that will be below. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe, and have a great week, my friends. Podcast on Sundays, every Sunday at 2 p.m. So see you guys there. Why did I do that?